most people here will be successful if they could be more patient for longer, yet most people will fail in here if they're delusional and keep doing the same thing for a long time, waiting for the thing to happen. It's one and the same. The most difficult question for me to answer is, when should you stop doing what you're doing? Because I actually have to spend time with you and really look under the hood to know, are you completely in outer space and have a terrible idea and you stink and of course we should change it? Or the other thing that so many people struggle with, you're so impatient and you're so caught up in short-term metrics like how many followers you have or how many sales you made or how many leads did you generate, that you quit too soon because nothing happens overnight. It's one and the same. But that is what's happening. That is what's happening. This paradigm of that. And then going back to where I started the operating system here, most people are in a place where they're coming from defense and they're letting other voices dictate their actions. So many of you want to be successful to prove to your parents that they were wrong and you were right to do this thing. The problem with that is, when you want to prove a parent wrong, how many people here are doing what they're doing because they love it, but there's a part of them that's doing it because they want to prove somebody wrong? Raise your hand. Raise it high. I want to get a sense. So for all the hands up, including myself, the vulnerability of that is you're so hungry to prove to somebody that they're wrong that you try to go too fast because you can't wait to get to the feeling of proving somebody wrong. My biggest thing is perspective. Do you have perspective? For example, do you understand how long you're gonna live? Like, obviously we don't know, anything can happen, but most of this room is probably gonna live for 50 to 70 years more. Yet, none of you act like that. You're gonna live for 50 to 70 years more, but you're trying to rush into something. And when I say, I sit across people all the time that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, and I say, ooh, I like this. This is gonna take 7 or 8 years, and I think you really got something, and they're disappointed. They're like, you could see their face, like they think I'm super cool, they're super excited to get 10 minutes with me. We look at it, and I say, which is rare, because I only say 1 out of every 50 times, this is gonna work. It's in 7 or 8 years, I think you got something, and they're disappointed. And it runs through my head, we're living in a fucked up world. This person's 27 years old. I told her she's gonna win in 7 years, and she thinks that's a disaster because she thinks 34 is old, or that's too long, or I don't wanna wait that long. My friends, in America, the top 1% financially make the bottom of the top 1%. To get into the top 1%, you have to make $440,000 a year, okay? $440,000 a year, which is an enormous amount of money. Yet, in the way it's currently structured, people don't even think anything successful until $1 million, and yet only 1% ever get there. Do you understand how rare it is to live a life where you're fully in control and don't work somewhere? Where you live your life based on how much you earn and pay all your bills and have all your fun based on yourself. That is super rare. That is super hard. And to me, the reason I put entrepreneurship on a pedestal is because if you can be a successful entrepreneur, you get to live your professional life on your terms. You get to sleep in your bed. Let me tell you one thing about entrepreneurship that we don't talk enough about. With entrepreneurship, if you own it, if it's yours, everything is your fault. You know the best thing about working? Who works for somebody? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you work somewhere. You know what the best part about working somewhere is? You get to blame somebody else. No matter what, it's never your fault. They fucked up, right? The worst part of being an entrepreneur, if it's yours, is everything's your fault. People like blaming other people, but the reality is it's your fault. If it's broken over there, you employed that person to do it, that's your fault. But you're still in control, and it is the best feeling. And so for me, I'm just in a place where does the person in this room understand why they're doing it? What do they want? I think we're in a place where people's North Star are confusing. You know, it's very short term, and I'm just trying to get people to buy into different things. For me, if you actually love the process of building, if what makes you happy is building it, you will win forever. Because you've already won. Like, I'm winning every day regardless of the outcome, because my love is my process. It's very powerful. And I wish people spent more time with people that are older and understood what life is really about. I really do. Number two, do you understand how special right now is? This internet thing, it's gonna be big. And it's a lot bigger than we realize it. And for me, the fact that so many people here can get a piece is very powerful. We spend too much time on WeChat, too much time on Facebook, too much time on Uber. We look up here. The magic of the internet is the long tail. The magic of the internet is the person who would have worked somewhere that they were not happy, who now sells cake on Instagram and makes $70,000 a year doing that and very happy, versus making $81,000 being a lawyer or $67,000 being an executive. That is the power of this right now. Not that you're gonna build Instagram, not that you're gonna build Amazon or Weibo, that you can actually build a business or something for yourself that lets you do something you like versus something you don't like. Do you know what percentage of our time we spend at work? Just an enormous amount. When you die, the amount of time you spend working is right there with sleeping. Like, you work and sleep take up your life. And so I think it's a big deal because it's practical, it's math. It takes up a lot of your life. And do you know that there's a lot of people in this room who have a passion, but the reason they won't leave their job right now is not because they can't afford it, but because they don't want to take a step back to take 3 steps forward. There are people in this room who will live the next 45 years of their life unhappy because they wanted 2 extra bedrooms in their house that they will never use. I'm being dead serious. You so care what other people think of you, you're not willing to sell your home and go live in a neighborhood that's not as nice, drive a car that's not as nice, to start a business that will make you happy. And so you will stay in a job for another 21 years that you hate just to pay for the facade of success of people's opinions that you value more than your own happiness. That fucks with me like you would not believe. It blows my mind that most of the world is willing to live their life completely predicated on the judgment of other people. That is scary. And look, and a lot of you know me, I was watching, I don't wanna be motivational rah-rah. I wanna be a little bit more detailed. I don't wanna be like, I don't want to. The problem is the details are so simple. Start a podcast, run Facebook ads, make content for every platform. It's super underpriced, go. Anybody here who's bought an ebook or a course for over $500 to teach them something about digital marketing is not smart. I know. Digital marketing. There's plenty of things I'm comfortable with you buying a course for. You do it. But if you're talking about digital marketing, it's very simple. Written words, pictures, video, audio. Put it in LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google. I mean, it's that basic. That's fine. That's not why you're not winning and not doing what you want. The reason you're not winning and doing what you want is somebody's opinion of you matters more than your opinion of yourself. Somebody's opinion of you matters more to you than your opinion of yourself. It's very true. And I'm so desperate to figure out how, okay, cool, I'm up here, I'm on stage, we're inspired for a second, you're pumped, you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna call my dad and tell him, fuck you, The problem is, usually between right this moment and when you get home to make that call, it wears off. Right? And so people ask me, why do I keep talking? Why do I keep putting out blogs? Why do I keep doing my podcast? Why do you keep saying this? Some people yell at me, Gary, you keep saying the same things. Yes, I believe in them. Like, what am I supposed to make up something I don't believe in to talk about? Yes, I believe in it because I know that for some of you, you've watched 3 years of my video content and maybe this talk, because we're in the same room, is the one. Maybe it's not. Maybe you don't even know who I am and this is the first time, and then you go start listening to my podcast, and 19 months from now, I'll say the same shit I just said here, but maybe because of the night before and the weather and because it was audio instead of video, it clicks because that's how this works. But I'm telling you right now, it is a mind game.